بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I hope that everybody is doing well, inshallah wa ta'ala, and I hope that you and your families are safe, inshallah. So tonight we have an amazing program. We're going to have a live stream for the entire night, inshallah wa ta'ala, for our One Powerful Night program. And we have a variety of great speakers that are going to be coming live, inshallah wa ta'ala, throughout the night. And we're going to begin right away with our first session, which is actually a revert session where reverts are going to be sharing their stories. Many of these reverts have come to Masjid Isa, New York City Muslim Center, and have accepted Islam, benefited from our programs and services. So without further ado, inshallah ta'ala, Brother Mamoon will be leading this session, inshallah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy to be the individual who will be moderating and hosting this Reverts panel. This is something that I've been involved with in our program entitled New Leaf, which is a program that the Masjid offers. And it's pretty much a medium for the Masjid to be a support system for many of the reverts here. So to start off our panel, I'd like to just quickly have a quick run for everyone just introducing themselves and telling us how long they've been Muslim for. So if you can start with
My name is Brother Sam. Yeah, my name is Brother Sam, and alhamdulillah, I've been Muslim for a little over 10 years.
Okay, can we go on to Sister Kejun?
Assalamu alaikum. I've been a Muslim for 3 years, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Sanjay. I'm from a Trinidadian background. I've been a Muslim for about 3 years now as well.
And lastly, Sister Valerie, if you could just introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been Muslim for. There must be a little technical issue going on. But Sister Valerie, you may be muted. If you can unmute yourself. Okay. Sister Valerie, if you can hear us, just unmute yourself. Okay. Unmute. Okay. Maybe Sam, if you can text her, and we'll wait for her when she gets on. We'll have her just start from the beginning. But for the rest of the panelists, can you give us a 1-minute summary of how and where you accepted Islam? Where, meaning which masjid you took your shahada in? And we're going to try to make it a quick rapid fire. So if you could just be 1 minute, short, sweet, with a location, we'd appreciate that. So Sam, you can start us off if you don't mind.
All right. Yes, I alhamdulillah accepted Islam in 96th Street Masjid in Manhattan, which is one of the bigger masajids in Manhattan. Very beautiful masjid. So that's why I accepted Islam, and I think it was a great experience. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Brother Sanjay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, so I actually...
Okay. Walaikum salam. Sister Valerie, thank you for joining us. I'm quickly just going to ask you if you could just tell us how long you've been Muslim?
Alhamdulillah, I've been Muslim for about more than 5 years. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. And can you tell us a 1-minute summary of how you accepted Islam and where you accepted Islam?
I accepted Islam 5 years ago. where did I accept Islam? It was in a mosque in Astoria. How I came to Islam, coming to Islam was a journey for me. Of course, my husband is Muslim, alhamdulillah, but it took years before I accepted the Islam. So it just came like a natural. I would pray with him, and he introduced me to the mosque, and I attended a couple of speeches. And then from the speeches, I interacted with a bunch of sisters, and then it took off from there.
Okay, beautiful. Sanjay, if you can continue, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, no problem. So I actually accepted Islam at Masjid Isa bin Maryam with Ustad Zakaria in January of 2017. Before that, I grew up in a Hindu household, was Hindu almost all of my life up until about my teenage years in high school. And from high school to college, I considered myself an atheist. Went through a lot of ups and downs, had a whole journey to every different religion possible. And then, alhamdulillah, Allah guided me to Islam. So yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Can you tell me a little bit about, I know you just told me that you accepted Masjid Isa. Can you tell me why Masjid Isa? Or what led you to accepting Islam there?
Honestly, it was qadr of Allah, because I had never been to Masjid Isa previously. So I had been to other masjids, but something just told me maybe I just need to go to a different masjid to accept Islam. I just had this inclination. And so I just went on Google Maps, found Masjid Isa. It wasn't too far away. Drove there with one of my friends. I actually saw you at the door, and you told me to wait for Ustad Zakaria, and the rest was, history at that point.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Sanjay and we actually went to college together, so we're good friends. And alhamdulillah, I've seen him develop where he's the president of the MSA. He's very engaged in community affairs. So I'm going to continue with the panel. And I'd like to ask all of the panelists here, what are some of the difficulties that you faced in your conversion to Islam? Some of your vulnerabilities with us, we would appreciate that. So we can go backwards. So we can start with Sister K. June this time.
Sure. So some of my difficulties, I think, was just coming to terms with the fact that I would be different from my family, and that they may not, be that accepting of having a different faith from them, because I think faith is kind of what brings a family together a lot of times. And so the fear of being different from them, and also being different from the community I grew up in, which was like, my community was largely based on friends I made through my church. And so that was difficult. And also, I think just learning how to be Muslim whether it's reading Quran, Tajweed, how to pray, proper hijab, just the adab of a Muslim. Those were some of those difficulties. And I'm someone who, when I did accept Islam, I didn't tell anyone for a long time. It was a secret to literally everyone. I think just sharing that part of me with others was most difficult, because although faith is very private and spirituality is very private, Islam is something we do wear outwardly as well. And so, for months I was wearing hijab privately. I would put it on when I left my home, and I would take it off right as I got to the door. And so that, I know there's people who have different sorts of hijab. Some people take it off when they leave their home, but I was in the other situation of, feeling like I had to hide it. And so I think showing those outward parts of it also became a big difficulty.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. It's just sacrificing, and I can't imagine how it must be to a code family, and just the difference in religion and how difficult that was for you. So we hope to be a support system for you, and that you find solace and comfort in the fellow Muslim brothers and sisters in our community. Moving on, I'd like to ask Dr. Nandan Samuel if he can tell us a little bit about some of the difficulties that he's faced.
So I think, yeah, to kind of echo off what Sister Kejun was saying, and I think many of us probably have that same experience who are reverts. Really, the family issue is probably the biggest thing, because you know people have different things they find difficult in the religion. For some people, it's starting to pray. For some people, it maybe wearing hijab. For some people, maybe keeping the beard. But for me, the hardest thing was really just coming to terms with that with my family. And I also didn't tell them also any of my family for probably about a year after I converted. So that I think that's like something that makes it very very tough because as Sister K June said as well, that's what really gives you a lot of support and a lot of comfort. And then when you can't share that with somebody, it's very very hard. So that was probably the biggest challenge. I think Alhamdulillah, living here in New York and in Queens, I never really felt any kind of prejudice or anything like that for being Muslim. It felt very welcoming everywhere, from my job and school and everything. Alhamdulillah. So I think that's been a big blessing of living in this area and being part of a community like Masjid Isa, where it's so diverse that I never felt like I was different for being a revert or anything. So yeah, definitely the family issue was by far the hardest part of it for me.
Definitely, yeah, and that seems to be a consistent theme. And I think Sanjay, if I remember correctly from hearing his story, that he similarly so had a interesting or a difficult time with his family. If you can talk more about.
Yeah, so in the beginning, as like any family would, they would, be kind of cautious, kind of hesitant, kind of not sure what exactly is going on. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy to say 3 years later, they're very accepting, and it honestly feels like I can practice my faith and be open about my faith, and inshallah one day they will accept Islam as well. But yeah, on the idea of family, but to branch out just a bit, community as well. I was blessed by having a community at college and also the community at Masjid Isa. But a lot of reverts, a lot of converts, they feel this type of isolation, right? They feel this type of loneliness that unfortunately they've been kind of neglected from when they take their shahada in the masjid setting, and then they kind of are alone, right? And in the beginning, I did feel that way because I didn't have the freedom or the liberty of going to spend iftar with at Masjid Isa in the beginning, or all these different things when you're doing things like secretively or in hiding, so to speak. And one thing, because I do a lot of research on this topic, one thing that's really really crucial and something that a lot of people don't realize is this organization did a survey in 2010, 100 reverts in Britain, and they found that the reverts mostly thought that masajid were not equipped to help them, which was astounding. We welcome people into our masajid, but the support system for many masajid is not there. But alhamdulillah, Masjid Isa has been the total opposite. Masjid Isa has been a real home for me and many reverts, as you can probably see from this call. So many reverts find home and solace in Masjid Isa, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, thank you for sharing, Sanjay. And you bring up a very good point. To break someone's transition as a Muslim, it can make them feel isolated to where they don't want to be Muslim anymore, or it can further excite them and propel them on this path. And and I think all three of you guys have this interesting similarity in that you'll have this difficulty with your family. But I think Sister Valerie, she has it a little twisted in not in a negative notion, but in the sense that her husband is Muslim. So Sister Valerie, can you tell us how the transition was for you and your family, and what difficulties did you face?
Sure. Well, I would say at the beginning, the difficulties that I had was, I have to agree with Samuel, with the family, like the family members accepting, the religion, coming from Christianity, and everyone practicing Christianity didn't really understand, like, what was it, to pray 5 times a day, or why did I change my attire, like my clothing and my appearance, because my family was not used to that. And then all of a sudden, when they started to see that I became very conservative, there was a little questions to that. And also just with adapting, like trying, to have my family accept me for the way I am. And, just not be able to attend like certain gatherings. And because when you're being raised in a Christian family, they're observing holidays, celebrating Christmas, those kind of holidays, it would be a little more difficult. I, of course, attended because, again, it's my family, but I would always, express myself and tell them I'm a different person. I'm here because I love you and because, I want to be with the family, but please understand that my practice is different. It's, we don't accept certain holidays. We just don't believe in that. So it was a very, bumpy ride, but alhamdulillah, through my journey and being consistent and practicing my religion, I would, this is the most beautiful religion there is, and it's the only true religion. And alhamdulillah for that. I'm happy to say, my brother converted, my sister converted, I have a niece who converted, so it's a beautiful blessing. Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, that's very sweet. Thank you for sharing, Sister Valerie. The next question I'd like to ask is, what can Masjid Isa do for you guys as reverts? What, number one, what have we done, and number two, what can we continue to support you guys in? And Sister Valerie, if you don't mind, just continuing.
Sure. Well, attending the classes that you guys offer on Sunday, beautiful classes. I was attending the classes. I met a bunch of sisters and brothers, and mashallah, the atmosphere is it's how do you say, very togetherness. You felt welcome. You participated. There was one time I helped the sisters, put the food together in the kitchen. We it was a unit, and that's very important because when you have these reverts and converts, you need certain programs. You need programs that's going to be able to bring them together, to welcome them. Welcome the reverts and converts with open arms and tell them it's okay. We're here. We're here to help you. We're here to talk to you. If you need any assistance, this is something that is a plus. And at the mosque, it was 100%. You guys conducted very nicely. Even, when we, break the fast during Ramadan, that was also, by far 100%. We had new sisters there, assisting, with the other sisters and, distributing the food. Definitely, I will say programs is a plus. We need that. We need that for the community and for all others to understand reverting. And when you convert, it's easy. It's easy when you have these kind of programs. So I would definitely say continue with that, with conducting these beautiful lectures and the speeches and the classes, the fakat classes. That's definitely a plus.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Sister. To quick little shout out and mention some of those things specifically. Those classes she was speaking about are our Sunday FCAD classes, which here at FCAD, we offer these classes totally free, a full scholarship for any revert who's a program, and they'll go over Arabic, Islamic studies, fiqh, all different types of topics, rounded understanding or we pair them up with mentors, and we help guide them in their process, and we're there for them if they have any questions or concerns. And now I'd like to go on to Sister Kaijun. Can you tell me a little bit about how Masjid Isa has helped you and how you're looking forward for it to continue to help you in the future?
Sure, yeah. So I'm actually pretty new to the Masjid Isa community. And I mean, so far, I agree with what Valerie said about the programs. Just being able to have access to these programs and to attend as many or as few as I want has been so amazing. And so that's been very beneficial to me, specifically the New Leaf program and FCAD courses that I just started this last spring. And I mean, I also had my nikah there, so that's also another community benefit of the masjid. And I just really appreciate all the different types of people that come to Masjid Isa. It's not also just a particular Muslim from one background, and I think that's a really beautiful thing. I think it really shows the diversity that is in Islam and what a like vibrant community it can create. And yeah, I look forward to continuing the programs. I also really appreciate Masjid Isa taking their programs online during this pandemic, and so that's also just been really amazing to see. The community not really giving up, and you guys not giving up on the community.
Alhamdulillah, thank you for sharing. That was very beautiful. I'd like to also just pick up one of her comments, is that this is a predominantly Arab masjid, a predominantly Desi masjid. But without a doubt, I'm proud to say that Masjid Isa is a masjid that you can't really put it on a culture. It's truly a multi-ethnic a masjid that has a lot of variety. So alhamdulillah, we're happy for that. Mr. Sanjay, please, fellow Hunter MSA brother, can you tell us about how Masjid Isa has helped you and how you desire for it to continue to help you in the future?
Yeah, so we've already mentioned, diversity. We've already mentioned programs, all these different amazing things. I think one thing that often gets overlooked in society, especially for Muslims nowadays, is a feeling of belonging, right? A feeling like you belong to, the space that you're in, and that's part of what really is so essential for converts. To know and feel like you belong and you're not kind of the odd one out, you know what I mean? So we tend to kind of tell reverts sometimes and converts, especially during Ramadan when things are hard, or even in general when things are hard, we tell them Allah is with you, right? And we tell them that Allah sees and Allah knows and Allah hears you, and that is totally 100% true. But we also need to not get complacent with saying that, and we need to actually say, well, I'm here for you as well. I'm your brother, I'm your sister in Islam, I'm here for you. And that's something that I think Muslims can do better with, and that's something that Masjid Isa from day one has done with me, and that's something that, alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful for.
Thank you. That was us, Sanjay. I'd like to ask Dr. Sam if he can just elaborate a little bit. I know he teaches now at the Masjid, alhamdulillah, so he's definitely, so if you could play an impact in during your initial exposure and your growth, that we would appreciate that.
So I came to Masjid Isa a few years after I reverted. Actually, I went to different masajid, but like Brother Moon was saying, a lot of them are very cultural based. So I never really clicked with any masjid. I kind of just went because I had to go for a Jummah or I had to go for Eid prayer or this and that. But no masjid ever felt like a true home until I found Masjid Isa. And then, I really grew at Masjid Isa. So, I was able to go to Hajj Masjid Isa and then do the ADP program where I really started getting a foundation in like all the basic things we have to know as Muslims and the basics of fiqh and all of those things. And from there I was able to take an Arabic year-long course with Brother Zakaria, Ustad Zakaria, and that really helped me understand more of the Quran. And since then, Masjid Isa has just been given me more opportunities, and NYCMC has given me more opportunity to just both teach and also continue to keep learning, and giving back to the community, which I think is a huge blessing. So I think I'm very grateful for everything NYCMC and Masjid Isa has offered. And one of them has also been, reaching out to new reverts who have been involved, like Sister Valerie and Sister Kejun mentioned with our New Leaf program. And I see Brother Mitch just joined as well. He's one of our newest reverts from this year. So I wanted to give him a chance to speak as well. Because I think he just joined our session.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Great. Hey guys, how you doing? Oh, I guess
Mitch,
you
if you
guys.
could just turn on your camera first so we can.
Okay, no problem. I had to put the light in my house for a second. Sorry. And don't let me put a hat on. COVID-19 hairstyle.
This is Mitch. Mitch is one of the brothers who's recently reverted to Islam. I met him at a New Belief program, and alhamdulillah, he has a lot of passion. He's a very young, talented, smart kid. And, we're very happy to have him in the community, and we're hoping that we can do justice and give him his true right of being a community for him and being there for him. So when Mitch comes on, I want him to just tell us a little more about his time with Mr. Isa and what he's looking forward to.
I say first off, I don't think I've been very blessed because a lot of people are not blessed to find the straight path. So I just definitely want to say that. For me, when I came to the masjid, I came very broken, and Brother Sam could attest to this. So when I came in, I was in like huge depression, massive depression. Like I'm out of it now, but like at the time, my business was failing. Me and my dad always had life issues because he was never a good father. But like it's getting to like the point where I just need him to get out of my life. Me and the person I'm in love with was leaving my life. My business was falling, and like so at this point, I was like, you know what? Might just try this whole Muslim thing because I keep seeing a lot of good Muslims in my life, and I always wanted to have that peace, that inner peace. Cause I always remember Buddhists and Muslims meditate, and the only reason why I said I'll go to check a Muslim out first before a Buddhist is that I knew Jews didn't believe in Jesus, but I know historically Jesus was a prophet, so I was like, okay, to me that limited Judaism, and not to like, let me could be upfront and honest. I see how Jewish people and as a community, and I want to say like I don't want to say I'm just casting dispersions. They are very religious, but I feel like they're only religious within their circle, and they put materialism in their beliefs, and I feel like if you're a person for Allah, Allah loves all people, and that's what the Quran said for all people, even non-Muslims, because He wants to give everybody a chance, a shot to reach Jannah in heaven. And I think that was the great thing, and the thing that you guys did believe in Jesus, but it also made sense, the whole Trinity. Like when I remember going to Christianity school, like the whole religion didn't make sense to me, and I felt like, you know what, like forget this. And like a lot of Christians who are Christians are not really Christians. You know what I mean? Like they're Christian only because of like the traditions, but not like they don't follow the faith. Like so, and the one thing I knew about Muslims, if you met a Muslim, like a real Muslim, like a Muslim's really a Muslim. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like a Christian, I'm kind of Christian, maybe. I don't believe, like, for the most part, if somebody calls themselves a Muslim, they're really a Muslim. And I just felt like the faith made so much sense. And then, like, I started getting premonitions of, like, me reverting. And I think I started to make sense of my life of, like, why I needed to come to this point. I needed to go to a point so low to where I needed to, like, humble myself because a Muslim is being all about being submission, and to where I realized I needed to ask Allah for all the things that I needed wrong in my life to fix it. And flip side, today, everything I pray for has gotten better. So it goes to show you that, like, if you could literally find any type of peace and happiness, because in the Quran it says any dua is, if you ask for it, it will be done. It just might not be done in your timing, but I'll be done. I'm gonna test you, and that's why I was reading. Like even like I remember, like for me, like I have a low attention span sometimes when it comes to reading, but like I make any way possible for me to read the Quran, or if I can't read it, I'll watch YouTube. If I watch YouTube, I'll listen to some podcast. I feel like there's any way possible for you to learn about the religion. There's a way if you really want to, and I feel like the more and more I learn, the more peace I got, and the more and more my life makes sense to where I was able to flip in, and alhamdulillah, I'm not in depression anymore.
Alhamdulillah, Mitch, thank you for sharing, bro. We really appreciate that. You shared a lot with your own personal life and how Islam has helped you. So we appreciate that, bro. It's nice to see you and happy you were able to revert. I'd like to see if Brother Kareem is on the line, because as iftar is approaching, we have a few closing remarks. Primarily, we'd like to thank all of our reverts for joining us for our panel today. I'd like to thank you all for joining us for our panel. I hope that the masjid has served as a means of community, a means of betterment for you all. I would like to continue to raise our hand out to you all, and that if you need anything, we're always here for you. And if you know anyone who needs anything, we will always try to be there for them as well. We thank you all for joining us. Going to end this session here. Jazakumullahu khair and barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We're going to take a quick iftar session break, so everyone is welcome to make dua in these last few minutes, have iftar, and continue to check out the live stream as the night continues to go on. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
The New York City Muslim Center project. I'm here on the construction site to give you guys some very exciting updates. With your help and support, we have now finished our excavation, our demolition, we've poured our foundation, and we have now funded all 229 tons of structural steel that are needed to make this project happen. Alhamdulillah, we have already been receiving shipments of the steel, and we have already begun installing the steel, as you can see behind me. But brothers and sisters, the work is not done yet. We need your help to build the exterior walls for this massive center, and we're asking you to do so by sponsoring the actual bricks that will be used to build the largest Islamic center in the biggest city in the world. Click the link below, sponsor your brick.
be a part of this historic project. May Allah reward all of you and keep you safe during these times. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
This is Yusuf Estes for the New York City Muslim Center. You know, the biggest Islamic center in the biggest city. The excavation is finished. The demolition is finished. The foundation is finished. And they have 229 tons of structural steel right there on site, and it's going up. The only thing that they need right now is bricks, and that's where you and I come in to get some big rewards. Yeah, because in Ramadan, all the rewards are magnified really big. And the Prophet ﷺ told us that whoever builds a house for Allah in this world, Allah builds him a better house, like a palace in the paradise. I want a palace in paradise. Get the bricks. Do it now. Click the link and get the rewards in Ramadan.
What was the offer? The offer was, if you can have a life where If you do good, you will be rewarded immensely, eternal reward. Rewards that no eye could ever see or no thought could ever imagine. Rewards and pleasure beyond the imagination of man. But it's conditional. But if you in this life do bad, you will have to bear the consequences. So the heavens refused, the mountains refused, the earth refused. Man said, bring it on. We took the offer. It could be that because we are very curious. It could be that when there is a chance of winning or getting immense reward, we go ahead and take that chance. Look at the Powerball. The chances of winning the Powerball is 1 in 292 million. And yet people spend thousands and thousands of dollars because there's that chance of getting this awesome amount of money. Just to put it into perspective, 1 in 292 million, the total population of America is 325 million. And just to put it into perspective a little more, the population of Mexico is 129 million. So theoretically and technically, if every single person in Mexico played the Powerball, year after year, technically, no one would ever win. So there's something with the human beings about going for that chance of winning something and getting that reward. And we overlook the other side, the flip side, the consequences. And this is why Allah said about us after we've taken that offer, that we are zaluman jahula. We are those who do wrong. We wrong ourselves by taking the wrong offers sometimes. And we are ignorant. We make decisions not based on full knowledge. So man took this offer. Allah subhanahu, now the charge against God by these people, the atheists, is basically that God is unjust. Because if he was just and loving, tsunamis would not happen. So this is the charge. Why are there punishments? Why does God punish people? Why is there this punishment levied against mankind? Why? So the charge is that God is unjust. But we're going to unravel step by step and show the opposite. That when we understand the full story, when the inexplicable actually becomes understandable to us, we come to only one conclusion. And that is that God is extremely merciful. We start from this step here. Man took the offer from God. Allah could have said, okay, you took the offer, you said you would do good. Here's the earth, go do good now. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not send Adam alayhi salam to figure out what was good on his own. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took Adam and Eve and put them in a Jannah, in a garden. And he told them that they can eat anything they want except فَلَا تَقْرَبَا هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ, and do not come close to this one tree. Everything is halal, only one thing is haram. Everything is allowed and permissible, only one thing is forbidden. And he allowed Satan to have access to Adam and Eve. So that Satan has the permission from God to whisper to Adam, to communicate to Adam and Eve, and Satan will do what he promised he was going to do, which was to misguide mankind. And as we know, Adam and Eve both went to the tree, and because of that, they were expelled from the garden and came to this earth. So God, out of his mercy, did not send Adam and Eve on this earth with Satan to begin with. God, out of his mercy, sent Adam and Eve to a garden where they would be trained. This was the training center. To be trained about how to deal with the permissible and the prohibited. To be trained on how dangerous Satan is. And to be trained about what happens when you sin, you literally and metaphorically fall down. And Allah then said, go down to Adam and Eve, go down to the earth. So out of his mercy, he trained Adam and Eve to be ready for this test in this world. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left Adam alone. Now you were trained, train your children, train the next generation, teach them, educate them, and make sure that they do good. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala equipped man. He endowed man with fitrah, this innate nature to recognize God and to do good. And He gave us the intellect where we can reason, when we can use our intelligence to figure out what is good. And this is why sometimes when the atheists say, I don't need God, I don't need revelation to figure out what is good or wrong. I understand killing is wrong. I don't need a book to tell me that murder is wrong. Our response is, we're not saying that you need a book to tell you that murder is wrong. We agree that we can figure out what is good and evil by our intellect. We can do that. But if you have an examination hall where the professor comes in and gives out the exam to everybody, and the professor says to you, the students, you have a choice. You can deal with each question and figure out what the answer is. I'm not saying you're intellectually deficient. I'm saying that you have the intelligence to figure out the answer for each one. Or option 2 is, I'll give you an iPad. All you have to do is press in key in 1, 2, 3, 4. Every single answer to every question will come up. I'll choose the iPad. Why risk failing using my intellect? So the fact that Allah has given us a book, the answer key to the test of this life, does not mean that it could not have been figured out by the intellect. Most of the things. Some of the things we may not be able to figure out, or some of the things we may figure them out, but it may take us generations, or it may take us a long time. Some of the things we're still struggling today. Societies are still struggling today. Gender rights, for example. Some of the things could take us a long time. For example, the inheritance distribution. What is fair distribution of the inheritance to the various relatives? Who wants to sit down and do math and figure out, with the socioeconomics involved, and figure out what would be the fair distribution? Would we want to do that? Or the easy way out is, here's the answer key, and we can use that. The fact that we have an answer key doesn't mean that we're not supposed to use our intellect. So God gave us the intellect to use, and God gave us this innate nature which pulls us towards Him and pulls us towards what is right and takes us away from what is wrong. Allah could have stopped there. You have the intellect, you have the innate nature, go live your life. But He did not. He said, فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى فَمَنْ تَبِعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. On top of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Adam and Eve, if guidance comes to you from me, then whoever follows that guidance will have no fear, nor will they grieve. Now, Allah didn't have to send down guidance. Man already chose. He took the responsibility to do good. Allah gave him the intellect. He's equipped, figuring it out. Allah didn't have to send down the revelation. And look at the language. فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُمْ. If guidance comes. In other words, Allah doesn't have to send the guidance. But He is sending it out of His mercy. So on top of His mercy of giving us intellect and the fitrah, the innate nature, God Almighty then is saying He will send guidance. This is the answer key. He's given us the answer key to the test of this life. On top of that, when He sent guidance, this should be enough for mankind. God has revealed guidance to Adam and Eve. It's mankind's responsibility to cherish the answer key, to save the answer key and pass it on to the next generation and the next generation, the next generation. It's their responsibility. But over time, man has lost that guidance. Man corrupted and distorted that guidance. So God Almighty sent down the answer key again and again and again and again over the centuries. Allah didn't have to do that. But out of His mercy, He sent the answer key, which is the guidance, over and over again. And mankind lost it over and over again. Then Allah took it upon Himself. إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Surely we reveal the dhikr, and surely it is us who will protect it and guard it. Allah then revealed the Quran, since mankind failed over and over again to protect revelation and save the answer key for the next generation. Allah took it upon Himself to preserve and protect the answer key, the guidance, so mankind can have it until the day of judgment. Another layer of mercy, so man can pass the test. On top of that, Allah could have said to man, I've sent now the book, it's been preserved, the Quran. Now it's everybody's responsibility on the earth to go find that book, question, be curious, and seek that answer key. But what if there were some people who live between prophets? What if there's an aborigine out there who never heard of the Quran, who has no access to the Quran? Yet there's another layer of mercy from Allah subhanahu for the test of man in this world. For those people who have no access to revelation, Allah subhanahu will cancel the test of this life and test them again in the next life. They'll have a short test. If they pass that test, they will go to paradise. If they fail that test, they will go to the hellfire. Mercy upon mercy upon mercy to ensure that man has the answer key and that he will pass the test of which he took responsibility for. The question then comes, if we have all this mercy, why does God punish people then? And to answer this, punishment is on two levels. The first type of punishment, as we see in history, is the punishment where Allah subhanahu like wipes out a community, right? You have Ad, the community of Ad and Thamud, the people of Noah. The flood came in, wiped out the community basically. That's the first level of punishment. Why are they wiped out? If we look in the Quran, Allah subhanahu mentions and alludes to the fact that these people were wiped out, like Pharaoh and his people, after the message was given to them, after signs and miracles were shown to them, after years of prophets and messengers explaining to them the answer key, and they being patient in receiving abuse and harm, some of them being killed. After all of this, Allah mentions about some of these people that they will never ever believe, they will never embrace the answer key, and because of that, there's no point to living anymore. Because the whole purpose of living on this earth is to either fail the test or pass the test. Once all means have been exhausted for them to accept the answer key, there's no point of living anymore. And thus the punishment comes and it ends the life, test is over. It's like the bell that rings at the examination hall, time's up. The second level of punishment is when punishment happens but people still live, they're still alive. And that level is done to awaken people. ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعد الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. Allah subhanahu says that problems have appeared on the land and on the sea